We had nothing, but we learned how to succeed with nothing. Jesse Cole. We often think we need favorable conditions to even begin. We blame our circumstances, our starting point, and the things we lack. Yet, the histories of countless great individuals prove the exact opposite. They didn't succeed because they had more than others. They succeeded because they knew how to leverage the little they had. When there is nothing left to lose, a person is no longer bound by the fear of loss. That is the exact moment courage is awakened. That is when every step forward is built upon discipline, persistence, and a burning desire. Deprivation does not always make a person weaker. Often, it forces them to develop capabilities they would never have discovered in a life of abundance. Those who have never been helped will learn how to stand up on their own. Those who have never been given an opportunity will learn how to create their own. Those without a path will learn how to forge a new one. Just like a seed that must break its own hard shell to rise above the soil, we only truly grow when we dare to push past seemingly impossible limits. Success is not a prize reserved for those with the best starting point. Success is the ultimate result of a mind that knows how to adapt to adversity. The truly strong are not those who have never faced scarcity, but those who refuse to let scarcity dictate their destiny. They understand that their greatest asset doesn't lie in their wallet, but in their mindset. When mindset changes, actions change. And when actions change, life begins to shift its course. The most terrifying thing is not starting with empty hands, but letting your mind believe that empty hands mean an empty future. Every great achievement once began with a small idea, a brave decision, a solitary step. No one is born possessing it all. The difference is that some wait for the perfect circumstances, while others turn their very lack into the driving force to push forward. If today you feel like you hold nothing in your hands, do not see it as the end. See it as the starting point of a stronger version of yourself. Because once you learn how to win, even when it feels like there is nothing left to lean on, any future opportunity will simply be a well-deserved reward for a forged will. Ultimately, we realize that the most precious thing is not what we possess, but the person we have become on the journey from having nothing to creating everything through our own resilience, faith, and a relentless refusal to surrender. The goal should feel almost crazy. If it doesn't, try harder. Andrew Frame. A goal big enough will always leave you feeling both exhilarated and terrified. It transcends the limits of who you currently are, forcing you to become a better version of yourself just to reach it. Human psychology constantly seeks safety. It avoids failure and keeps us confined to our comfort zones. That is why so many people set adequate goals they are almost guaranteed to achieve. They don't want to feel anxious. They don't want to face rejection. And they don't want to confront the possibility of failure. But for that exact reason, their lives rarely experience quantum leaps. A ship anchored in the harbor will never be battered by the waves, but it will also never discover the ocean. A massive goal always carries a sense of craziness in its early stages. When a poor man says he will build $1 million empire, people will laugh. When an unknown athlete declares they will stand on the championship podium, many will dismiss it as arrogance. When an average student vows to become a top expert in their field, many will deem it a pipe dream. In truth, almost all the great achievements in history were considered impossible before they became reality. What made them possible wasn't that the goals shrank, but that the people grew to become worthy of them. A sufficiently large goal will alter the way you think. It compels you to ask new questions, seek out new skills, and build habits you had never even considered before. When a goal is small, you only need to exert a little more effort. But when a goal is truly massive, you are forced to transform yourself. And that very process of transformation is the most valuable reward. Success does not solely lie at the destination. It lies in the person you become on the journey to conquer it. However, almost crazy does not mean reckless. A wise person does not dream without taking action. They break a colossal dream into small steps, executing them persistently day by day. They understand that no mountain is ever conquered in a single leap. Every step, no matter how small, brings them closer to the summit. What seems absurd today will become the norm tomorrow, provided you are resilient enough. Life always rewards those who dare to think big, yet are disciplined enough to turn thoughts into action. Do not let fear shrink your dreams. A goal that makes you nervous, keeps you awake with excitement, and forces you to constantly learn and grow might just be the most worthwhile goal of all. Because if a goal doesn't force you to change, it will never change your life. Set a vision so grand that your current self cannot yet reach it, and then patiently build, day by day, the person capable of turning that crazy vision into reality. That is exactly how all great achievements begin. I have always believed in doing things properly, even if it takes more time setting a standard and sticking to it. Sarah Jessica Parker. In a world that constantly rushes people to be faster, to do more, and to arrive sooner, true value is not found in speed, but in the quality of every single step. There are shortcuts that bring you quick results, but there are also long roads that forge an unshakable character. What determines your future is not whether you beat someone to the finish line, but whether you have the foundation to stand firm once you get there. We love overnight success stories, secrets to making it in a few weeks, or methods promising rapid results. But in reality, most monumental achievements are built from countless small actions repeated with absolute consistency. A skyscraper is not erected starting from the roof, but from the deep driven foundation piles beneath the earth. That foundation is largely unseen, yet it dictates the entire stability of the structure. Human life is no different. The skills, habits, and principles you quietly build every day are the bedrock for all your future successes. Doing things properly doesn't mean being sluggish or rigid. It is a conscious choice not to trade quality for haste. People with high standards don't just perform well when watched. They do excellent work even when no one sees their effort. They understand that every time they overlook a minor detail, every time they accept sloppiness or compromise with themselves, they are silently lowering their own limits. Conversely, every time they uphold their principles, they forge a resilience that no circumstance can easily shake. We do not become what we do occasionally. We become what we do consistently. A single excellent action does not make an excellent person, but a sustained chain of the right actions over time will shape one's character and competence. The standard you set for your work is the exact standard you set for your life. If you are easily satisfied with mediocrity, life will reflect that back with mediocre results. If you relentlessly pursue excellence, life will eventually reward you with commensurate achievements. The hardest part is not setting a standard, but maintaining it on the days you have zero motivation. Anyone can perform well when fully inspired, but only the disciplined keep doing it right when they are exhausted, doubted, or yet to see results. That unwavering steadfastness creates the gap between those who merely finish a task and those who create enduring value. Discipline is not a shackle that limits freedom. It is the bridge that takes you from potential to achievement. Don't worry too much if your path is slower than others. Worry if you are moving fast but lacking a foundation. A massive tree does not spend most of its time extending its branches, but nurturing its roots. When the roots are deep enough, the trunk will be strong enough to withstand any storm. Humans are the same. Build your life upon clear principles, standards that cannot easily be compromised, and a persistence that does not rely on fleeting emotions. Because in the end, what makes others admire you is not how fast you traveled, but that you built something enduring, reliable, and capable of withstanding the test of time. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions align with your values, that is when you feel the most powerful. It doesn't mean doing more. It means living more authentically, feeling more grounded, and being more yourself. Mel Robbins, true strength does not begin in the external world, but is born from inner alignment. When what you believe, what you feel, and what you do all point toward the same value, you will no longer waste energy fighting yourself. One of the greatest causes of exhaustion is not the workload, but internal conflict. Some people claim family is paramount, yet dedicate all their time to work. Some crave peace, yet spend every single day comparing themselves to others. Some yearn for an authentic life, yet constantly wear masks just to please everyone around them. When your thoughts go one way, your emotions pull another, and your actions veer off on a different path. The mind falls into a state of chronic stress. It's like a carriage being pulled in 4 different directions by 4 horses. The harder it tries to move forward, the more likely it is to be torn apart. When a person lives true to the values they deeply believe in, a very special kind of energy emerges. It isn't a fleeting burst of excitement, but a profound sense of peace and groundedness. You no longer have to try to prove yourself to the world, because you no longer need to prove anything to yourself. You know who you are, what is worth pursuing, and exactly what must be let go. That clarity makes every decision more decisive, every step more confident, and ensures that failure can no longer easily knock you down. The fascinating thing is that many people confuse busyness with progress. They think that doing more makes them more valuable. In reality, a life overflowing with tasks can still be empty if those actions do not reflect your true self. Like a miscalibrated compass, you might move incredibly fast while only drifting further from your destination. Efficiency isn't just about speed. It's about making sure you are heading in the right direction. And the right direction always begins with a clear understanding of your core values. Living authentically does not mean being selfish or ignoring others. It is having the courage not to compromise your most important principles just for temporary validation. It is the ability to say no to the things that don't fit, so you can devote your whole heart to the things that truly matter. A person living true to their values won't always be loved by everyone, but they always receive a far more precious gift: self-respect. And when a person no longer betrays their own conscience, they possess a power that no praise or criticism can easily shake. If there are times you feel completely burnt out, don't rush to think you need to do more. Ask yourself if your current life accurately reflects the things you truly cherish, because the greatest strength does not come from owning more, but from ensuring that every thought, every emotion, and every action tells the same story about the person you want to become. When there is no division inside, everything on the outside gradually becomes crystal clear, and that very unity will bring a life that isn't just successful, but peaceful, meaningful, and enduring through the years. Hustle and maximize your potential wherever you are. Create value. Bethenny Frankel. What determines a person's worth is not the position they hold, but how they choose to contribute within their current circumstances. So many people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect opportunity, the ideal environment, or the right moment to finally start trying. But life rarely changes because of what we wait for. It changes because of what we decide to do today. We see the success of others and assume they were luckier, had better conditions, or were handed more opportunities. As a result, we unknowingly use our current situation as an excuse to delay our own growth. Yet, the paradox of life is that opportunities rarely arrive before you are capable. Rather, competence accumulated day by day is what unlocks grander opportunities. No one hands a critical responsibility to someone who hasn't proven their worth in the small things. Consider a seed lying in a barren land. It cannot choose where it is planted, yet it silently roots itself, seeking out every drop of water and ray of sunlight to grow. If that seed only waited for the perfect soil, it would never become a tree. We are exactly the same. Circumstances may limit your starting line, but they can never cap your will to rise. It is within the harshest environments that qualities like discipline, persistence, creativity, and courage are most fiercely forged. Creating value doesn't necessarily mean doing something monumental right away. Value is built from small actions, executed with a deep sense of responsibility and dedication. A person who always completes their work to the best of their ability gradually builds an ironclad reputation. A person who never stops learning every day steadily accumulates profound wisdom. A person who always treats others with kindness cultivates enduring relationships. These things may seem insignificant, but over time, they merge into the foundation of a life to be proud of. When you focus entirely on creating value, you become less obsessed with seeking validation. The one who constantly asks, "What's in it for me?" is easily disappointed. But the one who asks, "What can I contribute?" it never stops growing. The value you create today is like seeds being planted. Some will sprout early, others will take more time. But if you persistently nurture them, sooner or later, life will respond with opportunities, trust, and well-deserved rewards. The most important thing is to never underestimate where you currently stand. No honest work is too small. No sincere effort is ever meaningless. Every day, you do a little better, learn one new thing, fix an old flaw, or help just one more person, you are quietly expanding your own worth. And as your internal value rises, your external reality will inevitably shift to match it. Do not waste time waiting for a perfect scenario. Start exactly where you are, with what you have, and give it everything you've got. Life always reserves its greatest rewards for those who relentlessly create value rather than merely chasing benefits. Because ultimately, what makes a person memorable is not how much they possessed, but how much they contributed, how vastly they grew, and what positive impact they left on the lives of those around them. The very value you create today will become the unshakable foundation for all your successes tomorrow. The formula for success today is imagination, persistence, and judgment, knowing what is worth building and what is not. Daphne Koller. Success, in its deepest essence, is no longer a race of physical endurance, but a game of the mind, what you can see before the world even takes shape. whether you have the stamina to pursue it to the end, and whether you are sharp enough not to waste your life on meaningless endeavors. Imagination is the genesis of everything that has yet to exist. In human psychology, it is like an invisible blueprint of the future. Those who live only in the present merely react to the world. They follow the events. But those with imagination are ahead of their time. They see what isn't there and believe it can become reality. However, imagination alone produces no results. It only generates potential. A seed is not a tree, yet it carries within it the entire genetic architecture of a forest. The problem is, some people hold that seed in their hands their whole lives without ever planting it in the soil. And that is when persistence steps in, acting as a counterweight to harsh reality. If imagination is the initial spark of light, persistence is the long walk through the darkness. Psychology shows that people heavily overestimate what they can accomplish in the short term, while vastly underestimating what they can achieve in the long term. For this very reason, countless dreams die prematurely, not because they were wrong, but because the dreamer gave up too soon. Persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is the ability to keep walking, even when your emotions no longer support you. It is the power that helps a person cross the vast void between starting and getting the result. But imagination and persistence alone are still not enough. Without judgment, one can easily become a fool, rushing headlong down the wrong path. Judgment is the wisdom of discernment, knowing what is worth investing your time, energy, and life into, and what is merely a distraction. In a world flooded with fake opportunities, quick promises, and tempting shortcuts, the ability to say no is sometimes far more vital than the ability to say yes. An intelligent person is not the one who does the most, but the one who knows what to eliminate to focus purely on what is right. These three elements are incomplete in isolation. Imagination without persistence turns into mere daydreaming. Persistence without judgment becomes wasted effort. Judgment without imagination leaves a person safe, but entirely mediocre. Only when all three elements merge does a person truly create their own trajectory of growth, a trajectory dictated not by circumstances, but by mindset. This formula is the ultimate psychological map of true maturation. Imagination opens up possibilities. Persistence turns possibilities into reality. And judgment ensures that the reality is actually meaningful. When a person truly grasps this, they stop chasing every shiny object in front of them. They begin to live like a builder, selecting the right bricks, laying the right foundation, and accepting that a solid structure always takes time. Success is not a product of luck or a momentary burst of hype. It is the byproduct of a mind that knows how to dream in the right direction, a will enduring enough to walk the entire path, and an awareness sharp enough not to lose the way amidst countless choices. And when these three forces align, a person does not merely succeed, they become the grand architect of their own life. Hire people with passion and drive. The other skills can be trained properly. Nolan Bushnell. Skills can be learned, processes can be trained, and tools can be updated. But passion, the exact thing that makes a person volunteer for overtime when no one asks, research on their own without being assigned, and stand up after a failure without being pushed, is a rare, self-generating energy. It doesn't come from the outside. It stems from a profound connection between a person and what they are doing. A person cannot sustain high performance relying solely on obligation. Duty may help you start, but only passion will carry you the distance. Someone with great skills but no enthusiasm is like a machine programmed with absolute precision, yet entirely out of fuel. Conversely, someone with fierce passion but lacking skills is like an intensely roaring engine waiting to be tuned. They have massive potential to thrive if placed in the right environment. When an organization prioritizes passion over raw skills, they are betting on long-term growth capacity rather than short-term efficiency. They understand that human beings are not fixed products, but an ever-evolving process. Current skills are merely a temporary snapshot, while attitude and drive represent the true growth curve. A person with genuine passion will never stop at knowing how to do it. They will push toward doing it better every single day. Passion is not fleeting excitement or an impulsive emotion. True passion is incredibly resilient, sometimes even silent. It is not loud, yet it is present in repetitive choices, continuing to learn when others quit, continuing to improve when others are satisfied, continuing to try when no one is watching anymore. It is a type of energy that is hard to measure in an interview, but vividly reveals itself through long-term behavior. Optimizing potential is far more crucial than hiring for perfection. If you only choose someone who is good enough, you might get immediate results, but you are unlikely to see a breakthrough. But if you choose someone with relentless drive, you are selecting an upward trajectory, not a static state. And in the long run, the trajectory always matters more than the starting point. You don't have to be perfect to begin, but you do need something that stops you from quitting. Skills may serve as the starting line, but passion determines the velocity of your growth. A truly driven person will always find a way to bridge the knowledge gap through action, rather than using their flaws as an excuse to delay. A person is not just what they can do today, but who they are willing to become tomorrow. And in every decision, whether in hiring or in life choices, the most valuable asset isn't present perfection, but an inner fire blazing fiercely enough to turn pure potential into reality over time. Persistence is an incredibly important quality on the path to success. Michael Dell. If intellect helps you see the road, then persistence is exactly what allows you to walk it to the very end. Even when it turns dark, impossibly steep, with no sign of a payoff in sight, humans are fundamentally not wired to naturally pursue long-term goals. The brain prioritizes instant rewards, feelings of safety, immediate gratification, and the avoidance of pain. Any massive goal inevitably creates a delay gap between effort and result. That exact gap is where the vast majority of people give up. It's not because they lack capability, but because they cannot endure the feeling that nothing is happening yet. Persistence, therefore, is not robotic repetition, but the raw ability to endure the void between the present and the future. Imagine a seed buried deep beneath the earth. It sees no light, doesn't know when it will sprout, and has absolutely no indication that its struggle holds any meaning. But if it stops, all its potential dies instantly. Human beings are much the same. The tiny, repetitive actions done every day, studying, training, fixing errors, trying again, are just like the tree roots weaving their way through the darkness. No one sees it, there is no applause, yet that is the most critical phase of growth. Persistence doesn't just mean you keep doing it. It means you keep adjusting. A persistent person isn't someone who repeats the exact same action flawlessly countless times. They are the one who refuses to abandon the goal even when their current method fails. They know that failure is not a dead end, but sheer data. Every stumble is just another lesson clarifying the path they walk. It is that silent, unseen accumulation that triggers the massive leap outsiders like to call an overnight success. The most dangerous trap is confusing persistence with sheer stubbornness. Persistence is continuing in the right direction. Stubbornness is marching down the wrong path simply because you've come too far to turn back. Therefore, true persistence walks hand in hand with acute awareness. It is never blind. It carries the capacity to self-evaluate, self-correct, and relentlessly adapt. A wise individual is not just enduring. They know exactly when to pivot their approach so as not to lose their original target. Persistence is ultimately an ongoing conversation with yourself. Every single day, you must convince your own mind, I can still keep going. No one can do that for you. Motivation never lasts forever, but the habit of persistence can seamlessly take its place when motivation fades away. And that is precisely what draws the line between someone who just starts and someone who makes it to the very end. Success rarely belongs to the fastest or the smartest. It belongs to the one who refuses to stop when nothing is showing results. Persistence doesn't guarantee you will win every race, but it guarantees you won't be knocked out of the game before the grand opportunity finally strikes. And in so many cases, just by continuing to walk, you have already gone further than almost everyone who started beside you. It is better to know less than to know so many things that ain't so. Josh Billings. Human beings do not process the world in its purest form. We do not see the truth. We see what our brains interpret as the truth. And it is exactly here that the greatest danger emerges, not a lack of information, but false information clung to with absolute certainty. A fierce but misguided belief is far deadlier than mere ignorance because it creates a powerful illusion of correctness. At that point, a person stops searching for the truth. They only search for ways to reinforce what they already believe. Think of a distorted map. If you have no map at all, you will walk slowly, but you can still observe and navigate your way. But if you carry a wrong map, you will confidently stride straight into error, wholly convinced you are nearing the destination. This is the perilous paradox of knowing the wrong things. It doesn't just lead you astray, it blinds you to the fact that you are lost. In today's information age, this becomes even more blatantly obvious. We are besieged by an endless storm of data points, opinions, and wildly varying interpretations. Without the ability to verify and think critically, the mind is incredibly prone to being filled with half-truths. These scattered puzzle pieces, left unverified, can assemble into a completely distorted picture of the world. And when someone acts upon that corrupted picture, they are not only wrong in their thinking, they are wrong in how they live their entire life. The true value of knowledge lies not in its sheer volume, but in its absolute precision and correct application. Knowing less, but knowing what is undeniably true, keeps a person humble and razor sharp. They understand that they don't know enough, making them perpetually ready to learn and adjust. Conversely, knowing a wealth of falsehoods makes a person dangerously confident, a confidence built entirely on a crumbling foundation. Be honest with your uncertainty. We do not always need an immediate answer. Sometimes, admitting "I don't know yet" holds infinitely more value than hastily embracing an unverified claim. because it is only by preserving that empty space of uncertainty that a person earns the chance to approach the truth on a profound level. True wisdom does not begin with knowing everything. It begins with the acute ability to distinguish between right and wrong, authentic and fake, certainty and mere assumption. A mature mind is not one overflowing with information. It is a mind that ruthlessly filters out the falsehoods. And sometimes, the greatest wisdom of all is simply keeping yourself humble enough to say, I only want to know what is true, even if it is little, rather than carrying the weight of a whole world of knowledge that does not reflect reality. If you truly love what you do, the money will naturally follow. Dean Solon. There is a critical distinction to be made between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivators, like money, fame, or validation, can easily drive short-term action, but they crumble the moment true hardship strikes. Intrinsic motivators, genuine passion, raw curiosity, and a deep sense of meaning have the unique power to sustain long-term action even when there is no visible reward in sight. When someone truly loves their craft, they don't just work to get the task done. They work to dive deeper, perform better, and refine their mastery every single day. Loving your work does not magically spawn money. What generates wealth is the undeniable value you provide to others and the market's willingness to pay for that value. But here is the fascinating twist. When you deeply love a field, you naturally invest time, energy, and an almost irrational level of persistence far beyond the average person. It is that massive accumulation that gradually makes you brilliant. And as your brilliance shines, the value you create scales up right alongside it. Picture two people starting the exact same job. One works purely out of obligation. The other works because they deeply care about the craft. The one driven by duty will constantly ask, when is it over? Do I have to do extra? Is this even worth it? But the one who loves the work asks, how can I make this better? Is there a way to go deeper? What else can I possibly improve? Over time, the difference is no longer about effort. It is entirely about the caliber of their growth, and it is exactly that caliber that dictates the financial payout in the long run. A human being simply cannot sustain excellence in something they despise for an extended period. Reluctance builds walls. Passion shatters them. When someone is truly aligned with their life's work, they never feel like they are enduring just to get paid. They feel they are evolving in the very act of creating value. Money, at that point, becomes the inevitable byproduct of that evolution, rather than the sole target constantly chased. Passion can never replace hardcore skills, sharp strategy, or a deep understanding of the market. A person can be intensely passionate, but if they never learn how to forge practical value, no one will ever pull out their wallet to pay for it. Therefore, the truer formula is not simply love it and the money will come, but rather, love gives you the sheer endurance to become great, and when you become great at something valuable, money finally has a powerful reason to find you. The most unshakable path is not choosing a career strictly for the cash, nor merely for blind passion alone. It is striking that lethal intersection of both, doing what you love enough so you refuse to quit, while remaining practical enough to carve out value the world actually needs. When those two forces collide, success is no longer something you have to force. It simply becomes the natural, breathtaking result of a journey built flawlessly on course.